Okay, let's begin. Assalamu alaikum, everybody. My name is Usman, and I am an educationalist. I've been associated with the field of education for over 2 decades. So I started off my career some 22 years back after I completed my bachelor's in business and information technology, e-commerce basically, which was something very, very unique and new at that time. And I fancied a bit of banking. I fancied a bit of advertising because I then later on completed my MBA in marketing and finance as well. But then I started off my teaching career as a computer instructor, and then I very quickly moved on to English language, and I went on to complete my master's in English literature as well. And from then onwards, I began my journey of teaching ONA level English language and sociology. I've also been teaching global perspectives and research and English general paper. So, technically associated with courses that are based on English as a first language or English as a second language, like courses like 510, 500, 511, the IB curriculum, AQA board, and of course 1123, 500, all of these courses, and Edexcel as well. So I've been teaching various boards across the globe, and I started online teaching in 2018, and that was well before COVID. So my journey had started because I had international students, but then I never gave up my teaching in the physical classroom. I kept on doing that as well. I have been associated with places like Army Public, Generations, the Karachi Grammar College. I've been a part of that. I was fortunate enough to get experience there. I've been working with Meritorious and VACE Global since some time. Currently, I'm serving as a principal in a college as well as a marketing head for the network where I work. So I do have a very versatile profile because I do like to keep on adding to my my profile by doing new things, by exploring new avenues. And I feel that all learners, all aspiring teachers should keep many prospects open because the job market is pretty tough and we do need to have quite a few things going on for us. So the wise thing is to equip ourselves with all of the necessary skills that one needs in today's high tech era. And English language is one of those things, one of those areas where I think strengthening is required for everybody, whether they teach English language, whether they study English language, whether they teach some other subject. English language will always have its importance because it's kind of like our lingua franca, the main medium of our communication across all kinds of platforms, not just education, but of course, so many other things. And with the advent of the social media and how it's spreading, I feel that, we all have. Oh, all right. Can you hear me better now? Am I more audible? Can you let me know? All right. So if you can't hear me at any point, you can let me know. All right. Thank you. I'm sorry if I was unclear. I'll just repeat a couple of things very quickly. So I was just talking about the importance of English language and how we need to very confidently be able to speak English on various platforms. It does not undermine the importance of our native language, but it does highlight the importance of learning English because it is the general medium of communication across various professions. So, English language plays a pretty important part in who we are, in shaping our personality, in ensuring that we can very confidently and very clearly communicate with people all over the world because the world has shrunk. It's kind of like a global village now, and our interaction, our communication is across the globe in one way or the other. So that's why the foremost thing when you start teaching English or when you begin your career it's important to begin with the speaking aspect, because that's going to be how you will be communicating your ideas, and that's how you'll be interacting with people. So that skill, I feel, plays a pretty important part in your development and well-being as a professional. Now, I will share my screen with you, so we can go through a little presentation that I have put together. It's basically for module 1, and I hope you can see my screen. All right, I think my screen is visible to everybody. So we'll begin talking about the first module, and the first module is boosting spoken English confidence for teachers. So it's very, very important that we have the required confidence to speak clearly, articulately in English. So I did kind of, um, put a video, but I think we'll just kind of skip to the goals part first, and we can have a look at the video later if you have time. So the learning goals of module 1, which is basically the speaking element, is number 1, you need to understand language features, and you also need to understand how these features shape meaning. So the way that we speak, the words that we use, our general communication, it has to convey a certain idea. So we're going to understand how these language features shape the meaning of what we're trying to communicate. And you should also be able to use these language features to communicate effectively in English. So it's pretty simple. The goal is to understand language features that shape meaning, and you should be able to use these features very effectively to communicate in English. Now, I've already talked quite a bit about that. Why do we need to speak effective English? So, if you're comfortable, I would like to elicit some kind of response. If anybody uh, would like to contribute, and they can share their view as to why we need to speak effective English. Why is it needed? Why can't we just manage with do or whatever language that we are comfortable in or we speak? Anyone at all? Okay. Yes, thank you. Could you
Alaikum.
please contribute? Is it Kuratulan?
Yes, Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum assalam.
Okay, so I am audible. Miss Usman, your voice is breaking up.
Please, Walaikum assalam. Okay, let me just move myself to a place where I think you can hear me better. All right. So is it any better now?
Yes, it is.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Great. No, I'm really sorry. Actually, the internet has been quite pathetic for 2 days for some strange reason. I have just changed my connection. All right, Kurathalan, would you like to contribute?
Okay, I mean, I think whatever language we speak, it's not just English.
Hmm.
Effectively speaking in any language is important because अगर आप expressions are very important to convey your
Hmm.
feelings, your emotions which are behind your words. If you
Yeah.
just say words like a robot mechanically or like without any feeling or tone,
Hmm.
I think your intent or your motivation behind what you are saying won't be clear to the person you are speaking. So I think effective doesn't just mean that you are speaking high level English. It also
Hmm.
means how you are putting the tone or wo jo kehte hain na,
Hmm.
I am like, forget, I cannot find that word. Intonation. That is very
Intonation.
important. Yes, intonation is very important to help other, the person in front of you understand where you are coming from.
Absolutely, absolutely, Kurutal. And I think you've, put it in beautiful words. If you can't intonate, the rise and fall of your voice and the tone and the lilt aspect of what you're saying, that shows expression. And you're right, if there is no expression in what you've got to say, then you can't develop emotional connections with people who you're trying to talk to. And without that bonding or that connection, I think our task of communication is not as efficient as it should be. So, thank you so much for sharing that. Is there anybody else who would like to add anything to that? All right, it's okay. As we become comfortable with each other, we'll develop the confidence to contribute. So, yes, we need to speak effectively. And in this case, we're talking about English. We need to speak effectively because we're trying to communicate ideas to people. And unless and until we have that emotional appeal going on, until and unless we have that expression, we can't grasp and engage our audience. So we have to be very, very particular about the way that we speak. And it's not just vocabulary, it's not just how well we speak English, it's how we intonate, how we develop that lilt so that we can make connections. And speaking effectively has quite a lot of elements that are going on. And these features that we use when we are writing and when we are speaking help us communicate our intention as well. The emotion in our voice, the kind of voice quality that we're able to display, that plays a vital role in communicating our intention. And there are many different language features that we come across, and these language features are things that we teach our students as well. And these are things that we also apply to our speech and our writing. And when we are teaching English language, it's always important to communicate these features very clearly to your students because until and unless they understand these features, they can't write properly. It's not only about the speaking element, but then the speaking leads to the writing element. And these features play a pretty important role. So we could have brainstormed, but I'm just going to move towards some key language features which we need to understand and look at in particular. Now, there are many features of language, but if we categorize them in five main groups, it just kind of becomes a little easier to understand. And the first feature is the clause level grammar. Now, the clause level grammar basically, in simple words, is the sentence structure. How do you place your words in a sentence? How do you place the noun and all of the other elements, the verb, the subject, the object? How does it all fall in? So, understanding the basic structures of language not only helps you communicate in effective speech, but definitely it helps you write effective text as well. Then we have the word level grammar. Now, the word level grammar basically means the use of words appropriately. Now, a word could have multiple meanings, but the contextual meaning that you associate with a word makes all the difference. So, understanding the word groups, because there are words with positive connotations, there are words with negative connotations, words that are emotive, words that are, offensive. We don't even use them anymore. Words that have replacements now, the archaic words. So, understanding the word game, I feel, is integral to speech and to text. And this directly connects with vocabulary, the level of words that you'll be using. So there are different levels. There are low tariff words, there are high tariff words. Words that we use every day. I'm happy, I'm sad, the weather's good, this is nice, I feel bad, I feel sick. These are low tariff words. But if I want to move towards a higher tariff, and that is actually raising the standard of English, I will use alternatives. I will use synonyms which communicate the same idea, but in a more specific way. So instead of sad, I can be melancholic. Instead of happy, I could be merry, I could be cheerful, I could be delighted, and so many other words. And, instead of angry, I could just be agitated. So using higher tariff words in place of lower tariff words is very, very important. And this is where the vocabulary journey actually begins. So what we do is we start off by a list of all of the words that we commonly use. And 90% people who speak an average level of English can use those words. So we build on those words and we move towards high tariff synonyms for those words. And this is how you start building the blocks towards your vocabulary. And once you develop that base for vocabulary, you move towards the more literary element, and these categories are called figurative language. So, figurative language has various elements within it. So, all of these things are embedded within figurative language. Figurative languages beautifies what you say, it beautifies, what you write, and it just makes everything very, very visual. When you're trying to show rather than tell, when you're trying to make people feel rather than just narrate, you use figurative language. Things like similes and metaphors and personification and oxymorons and hyperboles, and there's so much that's going on in figurative language. And imagery, symbolism, paradox, all of these figures of speech make your writing beautiful. They make you speak beautifully, eloquently, articulately, and they help you develop a level of English that moves towards a writer's craft. When you're teaching English language, specifically for English as a first language, like 500, or when you're teaching 1, 1, 2, 3, we have a huge chunk of writer's craft. Writer's craft can only be understood, it could only be fathomed once the students' vocabulary base, their level of understanding of figures of speech is at a certain rating. So we need to be very particular when we're teaching our children writer's craft. We don't start directly with what writer's craft is, but we start by building up the momentum. We start by teaching them all of the ingredients. You need to give them ingredients before they can cook what you're expecting them to cook. And of course, to bind everything, to kind of wove everything in, its punctuation. So I haven't really mentioned pronunciation because pronunciation is specific to how we speak, which is very, very important. But these are features which kind of, blend in for both written and spoken. So punctuation is very, very important, of course, because for accuracy, and that's what the board examiners check. They check for your accuracy. They check for how well you can use punctuation marks, how well you can identify where to pause, where to stop, where to exclaim, where to question, and other structures like, semicolons and colons and hyphens and things like that. So punctuation is for accuracy, and the language marks that you give to your students. So there are marks for content and then there are marks for language. That's how it's divided. So the language marks are they have a higher weightage as compared to content. Doesn't mean that content is not important, but it goes to show that an English language exam is at the end of the day a test of language, how strong the student's language is, not just how imaginative they are, not just how beautifully they write, but how accurately they write. So, all of these language features play a very, very important part in shaping your speech, shaping your text. And another thing that we need to understand when we are teaching English language courses we 100% need to understand the examiner's expectations. So I'm kind of going off my slide right now because it's very important to talk about why teachers need to train, even if they're teaching, why do they need to train and perfect IGSCE or GCSE or Edexcel or whatever board that they're aiming for? It's important to perfect yourself because the examiner's expectations for all of these syllabi are pretty different, and you need to understand each syllabus very, very carefully. You need to understand all of the requirements of the syllabus, the elements of the syllabus, and then um, understand the examiner's expectations. So examiners, the student sample responses, that's very important, as well as the examiner's reports. So understanding that will help you understand what our students are expected to do, and communicating those expectations plays a pretty important role. And another important aspect is the corrections and the feedback. So feedback in good colleges and schools is actually a whole lesson. For example, if I give you a test, I check it. So of course, the lessons for teaching, and then the lesson for assessment, and then there is a lesson which is entirely meant for feedback. And feedback means what went right, what went wrong, and what kind of improvements are we looking at. So feedback plays a more dominant role than anything else, because until and unless you communicate to your students what went right, what went wrong, and how could they improve it, what could be done to enhance um, their learning, or how to correct what they did wrong. If you don't communicate that to them, the chances of students getting better and scoring higher grades, they just kind of dwindle. So you need to be very, very particular when you're checking work, how to check it. That's another thing. That's basically, it's a whole learning experience, the marking scheme. So understanding the marking scheme, checking according to it, and then once you check the work, communicating to the student, the feedback of what they did. So it's a whole process. So the teaching part is, I feel it's important, but the most important part is the feedback part. And as teachers, I mean, we all pretty much know the content. The content has never been an issue. But then the execution part, how well we execute something, that's going to play a vital role. And when students develop these expectations from themselves as well, only then can they work harder. And it's also important to break down the syllabus content into chunks, and then working on the chunks in a way that you are covering topical papers plays a vital role as well. You can't leave everything to the end. You have to ensure that everything is done in a proper chunk. So when I'm teaching English language, I do like to use my own booklet, which has quite a bit from a lot of books which are Cambridge endorsed. And I've put together all of those things and my own research and my own materials. And then that book kind of serves like a guideline for me as well. And it helps me understand, okay, what parts, what sequence, and the goals that I set, and then, how I achieve them. So teaching and mastering the art of IGSCE or GCE or Edexcel, it all goes down to how well you understand the syllabus and how well you understand the execution aspect. So speaking is just one module. And then, of course, the other modules talk about the marking scheme, the student response, the examiner's report, and then, of course, going through the content, and then the correction part, how to check, how to give the feedback. So all of these modules are basically there to make sure that all of your skills are basically refined. So I did kind of want to keep it as a short demo, like a 30-minute one. Is there anybody who would like to ask anything? Anybody has any questions? You're more than welcome to ask. Yes, Kuratalan.
Um, okay. So, just to share, I am a middle school English language teacher, and I have never taught in Cambridge system. So
All right.
how good, how beneficial is this session going to be for me,
Hmm.
as in learning, Cambridge system, its requirements, the syllabi, and everything.
Hmm. Okay. So, Kuruthalan, that's a very good question. And that's exactly what you must be wondering, that how is it going to help you? So, it'll help you in a way that you'll be introduced to the syllabus, each and every element of the syllabus. You'll be introduced to the patterns, the formats, the Cambridge requirements, all of the things that the Cambridge face-to-face training communicates. You'll be exposed to materials that Cambridge provides to the Cambridge trained teachers. You'll be exposed to various techniques and strategies. So, how I will go about is I'll go about the process starting with the syllabus, taking you through the whole syllabus so you understand the requirements, and then going through each and every topic, each and every content, so that you understand what each element is, how it is to be taught, what kind of materials should you be providing, and also the strategies that you must adopt for the teaching element. And then you'll also be introduced to the past papers, the how to solve them, the specimen paper, of course, the marking scheme. And then once you understand all of these things, you will be given tasks and different challenges so that you are confident looking at the material and understanding the material. And you will also be given guidance as to how your classroom teaching can begin. For example, making lesson plans, making the yearly breakup for your syllabus, your month-wise planning. So you will be facilitated with all of that. So if you do get a role to teach O-level English language, you will already have your plans made, your lesson plans made, and your plan for the execution. So the course should be able to demonstrate to you how exactly this course is taught, whether it's 1123, 500, Edexcel. It really depends on what you're aiming for. 500 and 1123 are pretty similar. So I will explain the differences where needed. And similarly, Edexcel and 510, they do have a pretty similar skill set that everybody requires. So all of that, the differences will be explained to you as well. And I'll also be sharing, I don't mind at all sharing my own booklet with fellow teachers. I can give you my booklet, you can make some changes, use it for your students as well. I have absolutely no issue. I think sharing knowledge and information, it's very important because we're here to facilitate fellow teachers, and that will just save you the trouble of a lot of research and compilation. So I'll be more than happy to do that as well, Kuratalan.
Thank you so much. Acha, just one other query. Even
Gigi,
though
please.
it's not a very important point as far as I am concerned, but
Gigi,
Cambridge does have their own, the workshops and trainings and
they
everything.
do.
So
Gigi.
how am I going to be benefited from doing this session?
Hmm.
As in, building up my resume. How
Yeah.
do they compare with those
Yeah.
trainings?
I understand. So the face-to-face trainings Cambridge offers, they're great. But Kurthaland, they're very limited. They're not going to teach you the content. They pick up various elements and they will give you a very brief overview. They'll have activities and things planned. But the number of hours that they give you, they don't cover the complete content. They don't give you a lot of additional materials except for past papers or specimen papers, which are already available. And other than that, Raisa, I'll just come to you. Let me just finish and then I'll come back to you. And other than that, Kuratulan, they don't really teach you the marking scheme and the feedback. So I've attended a lot of, like, I've been attending these face-to-face training sessions since 2 decades. I have learned a lot. I'm not going to say that I haven't learned anything, but the kind of detail and the kind of versatility that this training course has, a single training session cannot provide that. And also, the kind of experience that is put into these training sessions, all of my 20 plus years of experience, You will probably not find that in a workshop by Cambridge, which is for a couple of hours. It's very good for people who are already into the profession, who are already teaching A levels, because they just kind of polish and they just kind of tell you the things that have changed, but they don't really start from the scratch. And somebody who really needs to polish up their skills right from the like square one, Cambridge workshops may not be as effective.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much
You're
for your
welcome.
time.
Yes, Raisa, sorry to keep you waiting.
Question is related to the course curriculum. I think that it should be short. The duration
Mm-hmm.
of the course should be short because obviously we have a lot to do in our daily lives apart from the job we are doing.
Of
So
course,
I
I
would
totally
request you if you can
agree.
start the course a little bit late when the school break would start, and then it can be,
Of
if it
course,
can
of
be
course.
short.
Yeah, Raisa, that's the plan, I guess. And we'll, all of these sessions are pretty flexible and they'll all be recorded. So let's say that somebody misses out a session, it'll be recorded. The recording, the materials, everything will be provided. And we'll also be very flexible with this. We'll check availability. And we're not starting it, I think, immediately. My plan is to start somewhere in June because I also work and I will be traveling as well because we all need a break to whatever extent we can get, maybe at home, just taking time out, or maybe going somewhere. So I'll also be taking a little bit of a break and then, inshallah, starting somewhere in June. But remember, these trainings are very flexible. That's the lovely part of it. They're flexible, they're recorded, and your access to the trainer is 24/7. So you can leave messages, you can talk to the trainer individually, and I think that sort of, makes things a little easier.
That means that if we want to register right away, if can, let's say, start the course in July, to get the
Yes.
training or
Okay. Okay.
recordings of it,
Yeah,
would
that's fine.
would it
That's
be fine?
perfectly fine. Yes. Yes. Okay. Amar,
Right. And
okay. Oh, so yes, sorry, Raisa. Anything else you would like to add?
thank you. Thank you for
Okay.
such a
You're
flexible.
welcome. Okay. So Amar, would like to, okay. Yes, Amar, we can also refer you. As I said, the trainers are all connected with various organizations, working in different capacities, and we can definitely give you a recommendation. We can definitely, and this training will kind of be a proof that you have completed the whole in-depth course analysis and you are well versed in the marking scheme, understanding, and the understanding of student communication. So definitely, this certificate will be an evidence for institutions that you have thoroughly gone over the course, and it's not just your own knowledge, and it's something that has been communicated by an experienced trainer. And as I said, we are all connected to various organizations, and we can help you with your references when you're applying. And definitely, you can put our names down as well as a reference. That sort of helps a bit as well. I hope that answers your question, Amar. Is there anybody else who would like to ask a question? All right. So I think, see, it's going to be um, it's going to be a journey, and every journey has some very unexpected and wonderful outcomes as well. So my hope and inspiration is basically learning. Uh, will you okay? Yes, 100%. So Hamna, as I said, I will be helping you understand and I'll be giving you samples of my lesson plans as well and teaching strategies. So I'll basically be trying to give you a whole overview of the teaching strategies that can be applied and the lesson planning. Lesson planning is pretty important. And making your planner, it's pretty important before you start anything at all. So I'll give you my digital planner As I said, I don't mind sharing my resources at all. I've been teaching, I think, for way too many years to be worrying about all of that. My planners, my digital planners are for you. My booklet is for you. I'll be absolutely delighted to share all of the resources that I use and all of the strategies that I use. Classroom control, um, student engagement, lesson planning. All of these things are skills that you need to conduct your English language classes. So definitely, I'll be more than happy to share all of that with you. No problem at all. And also, you will be able to let me know if there is anything specific other than what I'm doing that you would like to do. And there are sessions that are flexible where I'm open to your suggestions and your requests, and then we can do exactly that. I feel that, when you're doing training, when I'm training, I need my students, if you don't mind me calling you, or rather colleagues in a way. I don't mind people requesting or telling me what I should do other than what I'm doing. So I'm pretty open to that. And I'm sure I'll be learning so much from people who I'm training as well. Because remember that, it's very two-way. It can never be a one-way process. It's not that I won't be able to learn from you. I think the amount of knowledge that I gain from everybody who I communicate with, that makes all the difference. You can be an A levels teacher. However, this is specifically for O level training, but if you want to move on to A level teaching as well, that is something that we can do towards the end as well. There is a vast difference between O and A levels English language, but once you get the nitty gritties, once you get all of the basics right, once you understand the Cambridge requirements, A level is basically kind of like an advanced mode, and nothing that's out of the blue. I mean, nothing at all is difficult or undoable. Everything is within reach as long as you go step by step and as long as you work hard on your understanding and knowledge development. Oh, okay, fine. Yeah, 100%, Mubashira, 100%. That's the whole point of this training, to equip you with materials, equip you with ideas, strategies, and knowledge that will help you jump into O-level teaching. And usually, schools start off new teachers with O1. If it's a 3-year O-level program, they are happy to start you off with O1, O2, and then gradually you move towards O3. And O3 is the examination year, by the way. But I would always suggest that when you're starting off your O levels, try to start with O1 and O2 so that you have at least 2 years to work with your students. So I feel that this O level, the whole syllabus, it should be covered in 2 years. And after the training, I will definitely expect that you can do it in 1 year as well. But because the general student understanding level of Pakistani students, that's not too high-fi, so we do require like a 2-year learning phase. But I will be teaching you how you can do everything in a year. The next year could just be reinforcement. So your understanding for the whole syllabus will develop in a way that you can conduct the whole syllabus in a single year. But usually, as I said, O level schools teach this in 3 years or at least 2 years. Okay, anything else? All right, so we'll call it a day. It was lovely, lovely interacting with you, lovely people. And whether you join the course or not, that's a different story, but I wish you all the best in your careers. And believe me, you can do this. You just need a little bit of confidence, a little bit of self-assurance, and that's it. And you can all do this. You can be future great, famous ONA level teachers. And there's absolutely nothing to stop you. So all the best. Keep your journey. And Gigi Kuratalan, please.
It's not a query. I just wanted to
Please.
appreciate this demo session because getting to know your trainer and who you are going to work with, it
Yeah.
gives you actually also gives you a nudge and a push to have that assurance something good is going to come forward. So it was a very lovely session, a very short but a very lovely and very interactive session, in the sense that I am even more motivated now to join this, and I hope I will, inshallah. So
Thank
thank
you,
you for
Kurati
that.
ma'am. That's absolutely lovely. Thank you so much. And you all are lovely people. And I wish you the best of the best. Inshallah, I wish and I pray that you'll all achieve your goals. Let's see how things go. And if we do, have you on board, I think it'll be a wonderful journey. And it'll be even more interactive. I will give you a lot of insights into real classrooms as well. All right. Thank you so much, everybody. Have a very, very good night and all the best again. Take care. Allah Hafiz.